Welcome to Willow's World of DIY. I'm Willow, and today I'm going to show you guys how to winterize your sprinkler system and your hose bibs. I'm going to be using a blowout method, and this Fortress air compressor is what I'm going to be using. I'm running 80 psi. Let's get to it. The first thing I do is locate the water shutoff valve that goes to the sprinkler system and go ahead and shut that off. This one has a bleed screw on it, so I'm going to use this plastic bottle to catch the water once I open up the bleed screw. On this house, the water shutoff valve is located in the basement, and this is just at the top of a closet. Now that I have the bleed screw open, I just wedge in the bottle to catch the drips. The next thing I do is turn off the sprinkler timer. This is the vacuum pressure relief valve for the sprinkler system. And I'm going to go ahead and remove the nut on the top so I have access to the diaphragm inside. This is a look at the diaphragm. And I usually put my fingers in and pull up on the diaphragm as I'm adding in pressure to make a seal. This is the outdoor sprinkler valve box. Go ahead and take off the top on that. Mine is filled with cobwebs, so I'm gonna take a stick and just try to remove all these cobwebs before we start working in here. I start off by opening the bleed screw on zone valve number 1. You just have to turn this bleed screw about a half a turn. Then I go up to the vacuum pressure relief valve and I open up the top test valve. And I just use an air chuck with a rubber tip on it to blow them out. They do sell special adapter fittings, but this way works just fine for me. I pull the diaphragm up with my thumb and index finger, and once you have the line pressurized, you can let go and that'll stay sealed. And I keep adding pressure until the diaphragm releases, and it does that because there's no more pressure, or not enough pressure in the line to keep the diaphragm closed, and so you know your water's all blown out. Now that I have zone 1 blown out, I go down to the valve box and close the bleed screw on zone 1. And then I move to the bleed screw on zone 2 and go ahead and open that bleed screw up, only about a half a turn. And then I go back up to the pressure relief valve and blow out zone 2. Pull up on the diaphragm, and before you add the air pressure, once you have the pressure in there, you can release that. And this is what the sprinklers look like when you're blowing them out. When all the water is blown out of the line, the diaphragm will drop and the pressure relief valve will open up, and the air will come out of the pressure relief valve, and the sprinklers will close. Then I close the bleed screw on zone valve number 2. And I move to zone number 3. Once again, open the bleed screw, only about half a turn. And then I come back up to the pressure relief valve, pull the diaphragm up, and then add pressure. This house only has 3 zones, and I go ahead and blow out all 3 zones 2 times. So I just repeat the steps one more time on all the valves, and that'll make sure that there is no water left in the sprinkler lines. Once all the water is blown out of the line, the pressure inside the line will drop and the pressure relief valve will open up. And you can hear it right here at the end of this clip. Now I close the bleed screw on zone valve 3. If your zone valves don't have a bleed screw like this, you're going to have to open up your solenoid. Go ahead and put some pliers on that and give it about a half a turn, and that will open up the sprinklers if you don't have a bleed screw. And it'll open it even if you do have a bleed screw too, but that's just another way to do it. And after you're done blowing it out, tighten the solenoid back up. Now that all the zone valves are blown out, I go ahead and put the cover back on. And then I put the cover back on the vacuum pressure relief valve. And then I turn the test valves halfway between open fully and closed fully. So it's kind of at a 45. And I do the same on the ball valves. This is fully open and that's fully closed. I put it halfway in the middle. And the same with this ball valve as well. And this is the way you're going to leave it all winter long. And you do this, you put the valves halfway between open and closed just so no water or debris will be able to make it into the lines, but also any water in there that freezes won't be trapped either. Now I'm back inside at the water shutoff valve, and you can see my bottle is almost full of water. So I go ahead and shut the bleed screw while I dump out this water. Then I come back in and insert the bottle and reopen the bleed screw and let it drain. You want to let it drain until there's no water draining out of this. For me, this took about 3 of these bottles until it was stopped dripping. Once there's no more water dripping, go ahead and close up the bleed screw. And this is the way I leave it all winter. Now that the sprinkler's all blown out, I'm going to go ahead and move to the hose bibs. You want to make sure that you disconnect any hoses or timers or anything that you have connected to the hose bibs. This house has a water shutoff in the basement that goes out to the hose bib. You want to locate that and go ahead and shut that valve off. And then open up the bleed screw. Then I go back outside to the hose bib and open it up and let any of that water out of the line. Sometimes you gotta kind of open it and close it and find the sweet spot to get all of it out. This is the other hose bib. I want to go ahead and make sure you disconnect the hose. This one does not have a shut-off valve inside the house, so you're going to use a winter cover. If your house doesn't have shut-off valves inside, then you're going to have to get these winter covers. And I just put it over the handle and then pull on it tight, and it will be good all winter. I hope you all found this video helpful. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching Willow's World of DIY. Until next time.